Hello, everyone. This is my 7-round NFL mock draft for the Buffalo Bills using PFF's mock draft simulator. A few quick notes before we begin. First of all, this is a mock draft of what I would actually do if I was the GM of the Buffalo Bills. This is no way a prediction of what will happen. That's way too difficult, and I don't feel it's as useful. Second of all, you'll notice me mentioning PFF a lot, Pro Football Focus. I love those guys over there. I don't agree with everything that they say, but I would say somewhere in the range of 75 to 80% of what they have, of their opinions, of their analysis, of what they think of the NFL and what's the correct or right way to go. I agree with about 80%, so I really like those guys over there. And then finally, also with this mock draft, you'll notice like, oh, hey, that player, I don't think he'd ever be there, or that's way too high, that's way too low, that player will never be drafted there, they'll never slide. We have no idea. So this uses a 50-50 blend of PFF's big board and then the general public's big board. So I think it is fairly accurate of what's going to happen. Of course, there's always surprises, but you can't ever predict the surprises unless you're good friends with that GM and they directly tell you. And I don't think any of us are that person. So anyway, that was a while, so let's jump right in now. At 54, I took Cameron Dantzler, cornerback, Mississippi State University. Bills fans, you're like, hey, don't take a cornerback. This guy was the best player available at 54. There weren't any other positions, especially because the Bills, you have a really solid roster with not a lot of holes. And cornerback, yes, Tre'Davious White is amazing. He's really, really good. Levi Wallace, I don't know too much about him, but I'm guessing he's at least average. Cameron Dantzler, I think he would upgrade or at least be backup depth, because in the secondary, cornerbacks, as Eric Eager says of PFF, and I agree, I thought about this before him, but anyway, that's not really important. It's a depth position. It doesn't matter if you have the number one cornerback on your team in the entire NFL. It's about your fourth and fifth option in the secondary, your third, your fourth cornerback. That's really what's important, because NFL offenses, they can pick on your weak link in the secondary, and they'll do that all day long. They'll keep hitting, they'll keep attacking that player all day long. So you need depth, offensive line and secondary. That's where you need depth. The group is more important than having one or two players that are really good. So anyway, that rant is over. I like Dantzler because he just has good tape. He played in the SEC. He had a slow 40. That is certainly concerning. That's why he's available here at 54 as opposed to being drafted 25th. So I think it's a good move. He's a top 50 player for me, for the Buffalo Bills, to get him there. Moving on, pick number 86, I took Ben Bartch, offensive tackle from the University of St. John's University, a Division III school. I really like this prospect. He showed that he could handle NFL caliber talent at the Senior Bowl, which was a big question mark because Division III, you have no idea. You look at the tape on the guy, but he's playing Division III prospects, so it's like, well, what is that tape worth, you know? So showing that at the Senior Bowl was really important. I think he has some positional value in that, he can play multiple positions. Cody Ford is your right tackle right now. I don't like him at tackle. I think he's a much better guard. I like that last year before the draft, after the season that he had. His play at tackle was, I would say, average. So Bartch, I think, would be an upgrade there. Then you could kick in Ford into guard, and then just strengthen that line. It's not a huge need, but for number 86, I think you could do much worse than that. Moving on at 128, I took Jonathan Garvin, edge, University of Miami. Trent Murphy and Jerry Hughes are both getting older. You need someone younger to come in and maintain that defensive prowess, that edge rushing prowess. Garvin, I liked his tape. I think he's a good, solid player. He's not going to be amazing. He's not going to be a top 10 guy, but you're getting him at 128. So he's going to be a depth rotation guy, and I like his chances to succeed. Next, we got 167, pick 167, Albert O, tight end, University of Missouri. If you watched any of my other teams' drafts, you've seen I take this guy a fair bit. And I just like him. I love his speed. He's a big guy, lacks production, but the couple of receptions he does get every game go for 10 or more yards. So he gets chunks of yards. Every time he gets a reception, it's 15, 20 yards down the field, and he's got speed. He's really effing fast for that size, and his athletic ability is really, really good, I think. So I'm going to bet on that athletic ability, especially at 167. You don't get players of his athletic caliber there very often. And the tight end position, it's one that takes a lot of time to learn. Even someone like Travis Kelce, he wasn't amazing coming out as a rookie, his rookie year. It took him a couple of years to develop. Even the Jimmy Graham to the Saints, second round player, really raw. It took a couple of years as well. I'm not saying Albert O is Jimmy Graham at all, but of all the tight ends in this class, Albert O is probably the closest athletically to a Jimmy Graham or other super athletic tight ends. So I'm going to bet on that as a tight end at 167 much more than taking like someone like Jared Pinkney or sorry, I'm drawing a blank. So anyway, let's wrap this up. 188. I took Kenny Robinson Jr., safety from West Virginia University, and he also played in the XFL last year, St. Louis Battlehawks. I love this guy as well. I watched just one game of his Oklahoma tape, 2018, against Kyler Murray, and the tape was a lot of good and a lot of bad, basically. He'd make an amazing interception in the end zone, and then he'd, 2 straight plays, he'd just completely whiff on a tackle, and the dude would make a touchdown or something like that. Just ridiculous. So at nearly 200, this guy, he's got, I think if he played in college last year, I think he would certainly be a top 100, top 50 player, but people are just questioning him because they're like, hey, he went to the XFL, he quit on his college team. I'm not calling him a quitter. I mean, he moved on from his college team. What's up with that? So he could slide down here. If he makes it there, he's probably one of, if not my favorite draft pick or player going in that range. If he does, he's got way more talent and potential than any other guy that's going to be drafted within 100 picks of him. Number 207, we got Carter Coughlin, edge player, University of Minnesota. I liked his tape quite a bit. What I mean is that he didn't look like he sucked. He looked like he could at least be a depth player in the NFL. He's on the lighter side. At the combine he weighed in at 251. So he's on the lighter side, but he at least made the benchmark of 250. So that's a positive. He was just barely above that. He just overall he shows like he's a solid pass rusher. He's probably not going to hold up against the run all that well, but like I said, Buffalo Bills, you need younger edge players at this point in the draft to get someone like him. I would be not over the moon, but I'd be quite happy. And then finally, at pick number 239, Freddie Swain, wide receiver, University of Florida. He's a slot guy. He's got a lot of speed. Too many drops, though. That's why he's probably dropping in this draft to about this point. He has too many drops on catchable balls, but he's got a lot of a nice speed, and he gets down the field really well. He can make his yards after the catch aren't really that great either, but he's going to threaten the middle of the field, and he's going to be a depth player. There's a small chance he works out, but I like him working out than any of the other wide receivers that were available at that point. Okay, that about wraps it up. Those are the positions and players that I feel would really help the Buffalo Bills get over the hump, win a couple of playoff games, and maybe even make it to the Super Bowl. So thank you very much for listening and being here if you're still here, and have a nice day.